Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Pulse, brought to you by the Great America's Pulse Network. Got a great monologue coming up, and a lot of our good guests that are always on here and host. We'll get to that in a minute, but first, I want to get to the breaking news. The breaking news we have today is, unfortunately, five soldiers were shot at Fort Stewart, Georgia. This is the Army soldier accused of shooting five other service members at Fort Stewart. Today was 28-year-old who had been assigned to the Georgia base for around 3 years. And this is according to NBC News. Cornelius Radford, an automated logistics sergeant from Jacksonville, Florida, is accused of opening fire shortly after 11 a.m. Investigators are trying to determine the motive. They don't have one yet, but they were his co-workers, and at least the latest report is they are all alive, and it looks like they're going to recover. We don't have a motive yet, but we will get back to that on one of our next episodes as soon as they uncover that. And the other breaking news, just a short one, Trump announces, an economic explosion today. He was just on the news around 5 o'clock. He was live and talking about economic explosion with all the companies that are investing in the United States, all the other countries, and all the warehouses being built for AI and all that stuff. So it looks like the economy is doing very well. It looks like Trump is still on the roll and he's not stopping. So to the monologue today, this one that kind of hurts me, but I have to go through it. So, this is where we want to dissect it, tear it apart, and leave the facts on the table for you to chew on. Today's episode is called The Breaking Point, and let me tell you, we're standing on the edge of that right now. Someone is about to break, but the question is, who is going to break first? And more importantly, who's going to be the one doing the breaking? Right now, it's a battle between two sides of America, the left and the right. And I'm here to tell you, we're seeing the breaking point unfold before our very eyes. On one side, you've got the Democratic left. These guys and girls who are with their constant rhetoric, claim to hate everything this country stands for. They trash our traditions, our values, and our history at every turn. They look at the American way and say it's wrong, it's unjust, it needs to be torn down. But here's the kicker. They're using the very rights and freedoms that make this country what it is to tear it down. They lean on our rights, the rights that we as Americans fought for, to destroy those rights, to undermine them. They preach freedom while trying to destroy the freedoms that protect us from the authoritarian vision. They preach equality, but what they really mean is equality of outcome, not opportunity. They want to dismantle the very meritocracy and replace it with something far more dangerous, where hard work, innovation, and drive no longer matter, where success is not based on effort, but how much the government can redistribute from you to others. Now, let's not forget the core of all of it. I mean, it's socialism. They fully embraced it. They want to take your money. They want to control what you say, what you do, what you can own, and they're willing to promote it as some of the most perverse, paganistic, and subversive. Sorry, I'm tongue-tied today, guys. Subversive ideologies to tear apart the very foundation of America. And I didn't mean to laugh on that, because that is not funny at all. And that's what they're doing. We're going to get into that in the first segment too. It's disgusting. But on the other side, we have conservatives. We love this country. We fight for the American way because we believe in it. We believe in the freedom this nation was built on, in tradition, in faith, in family. We believe in the meritocracy that made America the land of opportunity for generations. The reason why Donald Trump got reelected was simple. People wanted common sense back. Trump got reelected because he stood up for the people. People wanted to keep what they've earned. They want to keep their families safe and protect the future for their children. That's what the right stands for, the embodiment of everything this nation was founded upon. The left, well, they want to rip it all apart. But there's the real question. With scandals like the ones that we've been seeing plaguing the left, who do you think is going to break first? And that's a pretty good question. Who's going to shatter under the weight of their hypocrisy, their lies, and their failures? Because right now it's clear. The left is on the verge of breaking. They're losing support. Their ideas are crumbling and the truth is starting to seep through, and they can't stand it. Well, their truth, anyway, as they call it. But they're not going down quietly. They're going to keep pushing, keep attacking, and keep trying to tear down this country, no matter how many times they break their own rules. The right, we stand firm. We don't buckle. We believe in this country. We believe in America. And when it comes down to it, we're the ones who will be doing the breaking. We'll break the chains of socialist control. We'll break the grip that the far left has on our culture. And most importantly, we'll break the lies they've been selling to the American people. We are standing at the breaking point, but it's time to decide: are we going to let the left break us, or are we going to break their stranglehold on this country once and for all? This is the pulse, and we're not backing down. So, all right, everybody. So let me walk after this first segment is called. Sorry. So we'll go into the first segment. So, and I'm going to announce everybody. I'm sorry, guys. We had some technical difficulties, so I don't want everyone yelling at me. I know my team's probably, when I announce them, they're going to I'm going to kill you. So this is let me show you the door, because I want to show these people the door real soon. So tonight, our first host, I want to announce Seth Eisenberg from Conservative Corner. What's up, Seth? How are you?
Hey, good. How are you, Hammer?
The hammer. We were talking about that too on my podcast. I had to break this out.
There you go. That's the hammer.
So, all right. And our next guest, Elena Barbera from the Base Mother. It's coming on there. There she is.
There I am. Hi.
How are you?
I'm psyched to be here.
Yeah, always a pleasure.
Love to show some people the door. Ready to go.
Damn right. And then our next guest, Peter Sykes.
Hey guys, how y'all doing?
No podcast yet, but candidate for LD6, Camden County, New Jersey, for Assembly. How you doing, Pete?
I'm doing great, man. You guys got me over there?
Yeah, we can hear you. You're on there. You're not freezing up or anything. I know you're
all right.
Like your soup, by the way, buddy. So, all right, we'll bring everybody on the screen and we'll get started. Not popping up just yet. There we go.
Am I underdressed?
Well, I'm wearing a t-shirt.
Okay, cool.
I know Elena's looking good. Elena and Pete got this thing going on. She told Pete from now on she likes a man in the suit, and then because he wants to be a leader, he wants to get elected. She said, and he mentioned Fetterman. He likes being comfortable, but not that he's a Fetterman fan. But all of a sudden she got in his head, and now he sleeps in the damn suits now. So that's how that started.
Well, Matt, I'm wearing pants this time, so that should count for something.
I love it.
So, all right. So before we get started, I just want to play this first clip.
To be coming out of our country. I mean, I grew up in a dictatorship. And I don't even remember ever witnessing anything like that. To have a democracy, a beacon of hope for the world to now be turned into one of the worst countries where the military are in our streets without any regard for people's constitutional rights, while our president is spending millions of dollars propping himself up like a failed dictator with a military parade.
CARE was founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties.
Okay, well, there was another clip there, but it goes hand in hand. That was Ilhan Omar. So, Seth, I'm going to take this first question to you. First, you hear Ilhan Omar talk about how this is the worst country ever, and she left the dictatorship when, I think Somalia's GDP is like $600, literally. I'm not even kidding. So, and then since she goes in to talk about 9/11, and she was at, I forget exactly where it was. It was the American
The Muslim thing.
Yeah, a coalition. And she talks about that somebody did something. Like, well, I think somebody did something on 9/11. And then the other clip I wanted to show too was Democratic Representative Delia Ramirez of Illinois. She said in Spanish at the annual Pan American Congress in Mexico that she's proud to be a Guatemalan before an American.
Yeah.
She's in Spanish in Mexico, and she's a representative from Illinois. And that's why I labeled this, "Let me show you the door." So what say you, Seth?
Well, my first question is, how come if Muslims get together and have like a thing, it's cool. But if Christians do it, then they're being Nazis. If Jews do it, then they're being pro-Israel, anti-America. Why do the Muslims get a pass on fucking everything they do? Everything. We're supposed to bend over backwards and applaud it. Even though they're the biggest contributor to world terrorism that we know, they get a pass on everything. I'm tired of it, sick of it. And she can go straight to hell. And if she misses her country so bad, she can just go dig a hole in her backyard and use that like as a toilet like they do in her home country. Because they don't even have indoor plumbing where the fuck she's from. And she's going to come here and bitch and moan about what we're doing. We're doing what every other country in the world does when there's people in their country that are invading it. They get them out. They're not doing anything in the dark of night. They're not doing anything covertly. They're doing it in the middle of the day, in uniform, in front of cameras, so everybody can see it. So I don't understand what her complaint is. Now, if they were doing it at night when nobody could see, then yeah, she might have a legitimate gripe. But they're doing this during the middle of the day. They're jumping out of the back of U-Hauls and parking lots. You see what's going on. They're not telling cameras they can't be there. They're not telling the press they can't record them. Everything they do is live or video. You can watch it. She needs to shut the fuck up and have a Coke and sit the shit down. I'm tired of it. And the other lady that went to Guatemala, why didn't she just stay? Why did she even bother coming back? And the people that vote for these morons are bigger dipshits than the people they vote for. This bullcrap in this country where if we don't embrace everybody, then we're bigots, has got to go. We are a melting pot, not a tossed salad, a melting pot. Everything melts together as one. Unlike a salad where everything stays separate. We are a melting pot. Either you become an American or get out. It's that simple. And I don't care if I piss people off. If you're a Latino American, great, but you're an American. There's no room for hyphenated Americans anymore. Either you're an American or you're not an American. I'm German. I'm not a German American. I'm an American. And that's fine with me. I'm tired of all this nonsense that everybody's got to be special. If everybody's special, nobody's special. God damn, these people piss me off.
I should have saved you for last because I didn't want to get your blood pressure. No, but I knew what I was going to. I knew what I was going to get from there with that one for you. So, Elena, I'll ask you the same thing. I mean, why doesn't anybody vote them out? I mean, why do they keep getting voted in? I mean, is it the younger generation, obviously? I mean, you look at Zoran Mandani. You know, he's a complete socialist. He doesn't like America. He says that he's going to tax white people and rich people, and he looks like he's going to get elected. I mean, and even I seen another clip before when I think it was Rashida Tlaib, where Fox asked her a question and said, "Will you denounce Hamas saying death to America?" And she said, "I won't talk to Fox News. I won't talk to Fox News." And she said, "Well, why won't you talk to Fox News? Doesn't matter. I'm asking you a question. Will you denounce death to America? Do you think?" She goes, "No, Fox News is racist." And then the reporter said, "Well, do you think death to America is racist?" And she just wouldn't answer. Like, why wouldn't he? They're not even answering that question. I mean, come on. Why aren't they voted out? And how is Mandani getting voted in? Like,
well, this started. It's all about indoctrination and the failure of our education system. This started decades ago in our colleges and our college campuses, where more and more and more liberal professors took over with more and more radical ideas, and they implanted them in young people. But that wasn't enough. So the teachers' unions decided to take teachers that they indoctrinated in college and put them in as teachers in high schools. And now it's starting in kindergarten, where they're talking about politics and activism and victimhood and racism, and having children look at each other without their natural state is to love and accept everybody. And, you know, in the past, Democrats used to say things like racism is learned. Do you remember that? And they would say that, that racist uncle and that racist grandpa, and grandma, they're the ones that are teaching little kids racism. But now it's not the grandma or the aunts and uncles. Now it's the schools themselves that are teaching these children to be racist, to be victims, to think that everybody owes them something, to think that America is a bad place. So that is why this is happening. And we can take control of the narrative, but we have to take control of our children's minds. And in a generation, we can solve this. That's where it's happening, because the politicians can say it all they want, but if parents straighten it out with the kids, the politicians will be talking to no one.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, well, before I'm going to go to you, Pete, I want to play the next clip real fast.
I'm thirsty. It is finished. Into your hands, Father, I commend my spirit.
So, Pete, I'll get Seth up there. So, Pete, I wanted to ask you, with that clip, now that clip was the latest version of Jesus Christ Superstar. Now, that's been out for...
Can everybody?
Yeah, can you hear me? Everybody else hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so Pete, we might have lost you. I don't know. Can you hear me or not?
Of course.
So are you there, Pete? All right. Well, so anyway, so this question will go to anybody else who wants to pick up on it. So that latest clip was Jesus Christ Superstar, and it was the latest one, and that was Cynthia Erivo, and she's an actress, and she was playing Jesus Christ, and she's a woman. And I mean, I don't care that she's black or whatever. I'm going to say Jesus, whatever color, but lesbian and is non-binary, she says. And Adam Lambert from
Maroon 5, I think.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, and he plays Judas. So it's all about the LGBTQ plus divided by negative. And all that stuff. And why are they attacking our culture? I mean, they're saying they hate the country. That was part of my monologue because they don't like it. They're going to say they hate the country. They're elected officials too. Well, and then this is just the culture part about it. While they think it's okay that we're going to replace this, and they're actively attacking Christians. That's an insult to Christians. And why do they have to tear down people's religion? It was a direct attack on that because they want to remove our culture.
Because Christians don't stand up for themselves. They lay down and play bitch.
That is not true. I'm not laying down and playing bitch to anybody.
I'm talking in general. I'm not talking individual people. I'm talking in general. They don't fight. They bitch and moan and scream and yell, and then that's it. Then it goes to the wayside. Then they wait for the next thing that pisses them off, and they bitch and moan and scream, and then it goes to the wayside. They don't stand up. Republicans don't stand up. They're so afraid that they won't be liked that they don't do anything. That's half the problem with this country. Well, nobody stands up for what's right because it's
problem with the country, but that's not a Christian problem. You have to understand
what we just saw was a Christian problem. That was a Christian problem.
The Christian problem.
That is a Christian problem.
If you read the New Testament, you'll know that that Christians from day one of the church beginning have been persecuted. This is part of our religion. Just as much as it's part of Judaism. We've been persecuted. We were told we'd be persecuted. We were told that people would come along who would distort the faith, who would blaspheme. And these are the kinds of things that we defend the faith. I am deep in the Christian community, and there is plenty of defense of the faith. But what do you expect us to do? Go and storm the Hollywood Bowl? That's ridiculous. That is not something I'm willing to do.
Exactly what I say. Storm it. They do it. They do that to us, and we don't do shit back. Do to them what they do to us. Start pushing back, and they'll fold like a lawn chair.
Well, the thing is,
cowards. They will fold.
They are. That was the whole point of monologue.
We are pushing back. We are pushing back economically. We are completely the most devout Christians I know give zero attention and money to Hollywood. And you have to also understand that we're commanded to turn the other cheek on a lot of this stuff. we do fight. A lot of us are fighting in the realm of, protecting children and in politics. But again, I don't care let Hollywood do what they're going to do. Unless they repent and they believe, they're all going straight to hell. I can let God deal with Cynthia Erivo. I'm not bothered with that. Stay away from the kids. That's my jam. I don't need to get riled about that.
So yeah, Pete, that was your question. You were up. I don't know if you're back on. Can you hear?
I'm sorry, buddy. Can you hear me? You got me?
Yeah, we got you. So yeah,
All right.
so you heard the question I was asking you, and that was the play of Jesus Christ Superstar, and how they're going after their culture, and they did it on purpose. It was they want to erase the culture. They hate America, and it's Hollywood doing it. And I'll never watch it. I just happened to see the clip of it because it was talked about, and it was a direct dig at Christians because they go out there to do the whole Judeo-Christian values of this country. They're trying to erase all of it, and all the clips. Tim, you weren't on before, but we played clips of elected officials who hate this country. So Tim, where are you at with that? I'm not Tim. I'm sorry, Pete.
Oh, okay. So anyway, brother, listen, you're absolutely correct. Christian values are under attack. And, it's funny because we're the only religion that you can really try to go after, without any kind of recourse, right? It's okay to go after Christians. Now Elena was absolutely 100% correct when she was talking about the education system. All right, because that right there, all roads lead back to communism, 1963. Damon, you know better than anybody else. Infiltrate the schools and take over the minds of the children. All right. So I'm actually working on a plan over here, with the abolishment of the Department of Education. Right. It's going back to the states. So the states are going to have the opportunity to try to go ahead and figure out what's the next education system to come into play. So I've been trying to work on that, how we can get back to, stimulate the mind of the children. Right now we have a crisis in this country with young men in the 30s and 40s still living at home, in their parents' basement, smoking marijuana and playing video games. Virginity rates are on the rise, right? I mean, all these things are connected. So we need to go ahead and we should stop emphasizing so much on test scores and emphasize more on, are you ready to hit the ground running at 18 years old when you're graduating from high school?
Okay, all right, good point. Good look at it. So, Tim, your thoughts too, because I think it's coming after Christians too, coming after Jews too. So I think this country was built upon Judeo-Christian values. So, and it's just another attack of the left, just trying to, it's like it's paganistic, and it's like perverted. It's perverted too. Like they want to inject that in everything.
Yeah.
Can you hear? Hello?
We can hear you.
Oh no, I was asking him if he can hear. Can you hear?
I think you can.
All right.
You're getting him too.
Yeah. All right, man. I'm firing all cylinders here. So
yeah.
So all right, then from there, let's just take a quick break and we'll get everybody. And
Can I weigh in on this before you go?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think the
Scott.
problem.
I'm thinking Tim. I'm calling you Scott too.
Okay. That's why I wasn't responding. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a Christian problem. I think it is a U.S. problem historically that we are, per World War II, either the sleeping giant or the rabid Tasmanian devil. And the same thing after 9/11. Like we're either completely silent and everyone's hitting the snooze bar every time there's little jabs taken at us, or we are just go completely nuclear, not literally, but we have to have incremental escalation of force, and we have to escalate to de-escalate, just like our adversaries do, just like Russia does and China, and just like our domestic adversaries as well, the enemy domestic to the Constitution that we took the oath for. We have to start taking incremental escalation of force jabs back when people are taking pot shots at us, and not just wait until we're so totally overwhelmed and totally disillusioned or death and destruction from some kind of terrorist attack or attack on our sovereignty elsewhere. we need to start hitting back sooner. And part of the problem is not just that we don't do that and escalate to de-escalate, which is a strategy of our adversaries. We also do this red line in the sand like Obama did with Syria, and then just like some kind of Bugs Bunny cartoon where they draw the line in the sand and then they erase it with their foot and draw the new line in the sand and erase that with their foot. No one takes us seriously. We blink every time. And so I agree that it's not a Christian problem. I agree that Christians are persecuted in this country. It makes me sick as a Jew to see that. And if it's not, as the canary in the coal mine, if it's not safe for them, it's not safe for me. So, Ilhan Omar, whatever the heck she was saying before, the brother fucker, that the complaint about Jews having dual citizenship or dual allegiance, especially in Congress, there's not one Jew in Congress that has dual citizenship. We have the capability when we go to Israel to become a citizen. Doesn't mean we've done it. I served this country for 20 years, not Israel, in uniform. But yet, like Seth said, she's allowed to have allegiance to whether it's Allah or allegiance to Somalia and the skinnies over there and the freaking little Mogadishu she's created that Obama fomented in the Twin Cities. That's where we're going with it.
Well, yeah, I hear you. But one thing that I'm really excited about, and I said in my monologue, there's a reason why Donald Trump was reelected, is because people want common sense back. People are tired of it. And you look at this Sydney Sweeney ad. We talked about that last week. I mean, people want, that's normal. I'm so sorry that it was a good-looking woman that did a commercial, a jean commercial that actually people want to look at. I mean, I don't want to see a 300-pound, fat person putting on jeans, and thinks it's sexy. I'm sorry, men don't like that. I don't even think most women like it, but it's just it's an advertisement. It's what it is. And then they found out she's Republican. They attacked her even more, called her a Nazi. It's not her fault that she's white and has blue eyes and she's hot. Sorry, she is. But then you look at this is the whole reason why, and then they keep pumping this stuff like this crappy shit, like they're redoing Jesus Christ Superstar with a gay and lesbian, non-binary, bald black woman, and it's just like
there's no originality anymore, right? That's the problem. Is there's no creativity, no originality. So they're just trying to take everything that we had once upon a time and remake it, in their image, I guess.
Yeah.
Don't you think it's a step up from urinating on a cross and calling that art? But what I'm saying is, if that was done before, then anything's fair play, right? Anything's fair game. You don't remember that where people?
No.
Yeah,
it was in a museum where people were urinating on the cross, and that was called art, and it wasn't a Hunter Biden piece. It was, I can't remember who did it.
I was about to ask if he was involved. So
yeah, it's not that it doesn't hurt me but I'm not going to turn into a Muslim who with the way they act when somebody draws Muhammad and, start blowing things up. So I don't know what the answer is except to just, comment on it, denounce it and move on. And like I do, give $0 to
I'll tell you what though, right? None of these people should be in office if they don't love America. I mean, that's my whole thing. If you don't want to make America better, you should not be in office. Like that should be a prerequisite.
You take an oath.
Hey, Elena.
So
yeah,
I love you.
I love you too.
All right, guys. So we got to
wait, just so we're clear. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that doesn't go anywhere.
All right, guys, let's take a break and go to our next segment. That one was a little long, so break.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
All right, everybody, welcome back to our next segment. And this one is called Nobody Hurts My Big Balls. And because I labeled it that, because I know Seth has just twisted his head like he's curious about this one. So let's just play the first clip.
President Trump is threatening a federal takeover of D.C. after police say a former DOJ employee was brutally beaten in the nation's capital.
Lucas Tomlinson is live in Washington with the latest for us. Lucas?
Well, good morning, Ainsley. Big balls bloodied. The 19-year-old former DOJ staffer beaten by a violent mob of minors in the nation's capital in a popular part of town. According to police, a 15-year-old male and a 15-year-old female were arrested and charged with unarmed carjacking. The attack prompting President Trump to post, "Crime in Washington, D.C. is totally out of control. Local, quote, youths and gang members, some only 14, 15, and 16 years old, are randomly attacking, mugging, maiming, and shooting innocent citizens. The most recent victim was beaten mercilessly by local thugs." Trump warned if crime is not dealt with properly, he may be forced to take over.
Somebody from DOJ was very badly hurt last night. You saw that. A young man who was beat up by a bunch of thugs in D.C. And either they're going to straighten their act out in the terms of government and in terms of protection, or we're going to have to federalize and run it the way it's supposed to be run.
All right. So with that one, I'll go to you, Tim Scott. So what do you think about that? You know who that is. That was remember the kid from Doge? He caught all the flack because his X handle was Big Balls, and they were going after him. They're like, "Oh, they got somebody named Big Balls in there." That's and all the news was talking about it. Left with it was funny then. This isn't funny. He tried to stop a carjacking, got involved in it, and they beat the hell out of him. So Trump says if Washington doesn't get it in order, he's going to federalize it. And so, what do you think?
Thank you for calling me Senator Tim Scott. Scott. Yeah, I mean, this harkens back to the whole Fedsurrection and Trump being the law and order president then as well, and trying to get the National Guard to come in, and Pelosi and the mayor saying no. Once again, the local politicians are not holding up their number one priority in their office, which is keeping their constituents safe. And it's really not any different than Los Angeles with ICE or Cincinnati or anything. It just so happens that this is right at the foot of the White House, right at that very same Capitol that Democrats don't seem to be concerned about at this point. Maybe they'll flee to Chicago like the Texas Congress people did if the violence gets turned up. But anyone attacking big balls like this are pussies. a bunch of didn't do nothings in training.
Yeah. Well, and Elena, this one's right up your alley, so I figured. I'm joking, but so your thoughts on this, because Trump was saying that he wants these 14 or 15-year-olds tried as adults. But hold on a second. No, we got a breaking clip coming from Trump right now. Let's play this clip.
Somebody from DOJ was badly hurt last night in D.C. If they don't straighten their act out, we're going to have to federalize, because nobody hurts my big balls.
Oh, man.
So you're up, Elena.
All right. First, I want to give it to Big Balls himself. His real name is Edward Korestein, and he defended this woman and kept her safe and took a beating to do it. I mean, he's a young kid and he is not afraid of getting involved to protect a woman. So, like, kudos. It is nice to know that there are still young men out there who are like that, but what really bothers me about this is these 15s. Like, I was bad when I was 15 or 16. I was getting into mischief. I was, I was doing all kinds of stuff, but nothing that hurt other people. Like, what happens to these children's souls that at 15, 16, they're carjacking, beating up strangers, robbing people? I mean, what kind of parents, what's going on in this country? And another just quick thing that bothers me about this is that this is our nation's capital, and it is a global embarrassment that anybody should be not unsafe at all in our national capital. I don't care if we have to put military on the streets there, but the place should be shining like a new dime and safe 24/7 to walk around for anybody. I'm disgusted. And I don't know what it would look like if Trump federalized it, but if it would make it better, I'm all for it.
All right. I'm with you there. I think it was Pete. I'll go to you because, Big Balls isn't a big guy. He's a little guy, but he actually has big enough balls to step in and try to stop a carjacking. So I'll give him credit for that. And he wound up getting get beat the hell over it. But he actually did. He stepped up. He did something good. And he stopped it from happening. But he took, the whole beating of it. So what would you say to Big Balls? I can't stop saying it.
I know you're not wrong. Listen, I would commend Big Balls for having the big balls and enough heart to get in there and handle his business. A few years back, we saw on the train in Philadelphia where this young woman was getting raped and no one stopped to help. They pulled out their phone to videotape it. A few years ago as well, we also saw Daniel Penny have the cojones to go in there and stop. Oh, I can't think of the gentleman's name right now. On the train, and you had all those people come out and say what a hero he was. And that right there, we need young men to be men again, and to have enough heart and enough courage to get in there and protect people. That's the man's job, is to be the protector. I do not necessarily care for the idea of federalizing law enforcement. Anything that we wind up doing right now, the deep state, the Democrats, whoever it may be, can do in the future. And we just have to be very, very careful with that, because as soon as you start doing that, it's a slippery slope. We want smaller government, not bigger government.
All right. Now to you, Seth. I mean, Pete, going off what Pete just said, that we need men to step up. We need, you have the left and the Democrats, for the most part, they want to emasculate men. They want to say men can be women and women can be men, and they don't think that men should protect women. I remember Trump saying something like that. He said, "I'm going to protect our women," and he caught a lot of flack, not by the right, not by conservative Republicans or anything like that, but by the left. And they said out there, he should protect women. So what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, everybody should protect themselves and protect their neighbors.
Big balls. I didn't mention big balls. I said it for everyone. I want to help them.
I should have been playing big balls drinking orange juice. Sorry.
But when it comes to protecting people, it shouldn't just be men protecting women. Women should be protecting men. Everybody should be protecting children. It shouldn't just fall on one sex to protect people. If you want to look at it this way, we're all one tribe. Everybody sticks up for everybody else. And if you don't belong to the tribe, well, guess what? You're going to look real funny eating corn on the cob with no teeth when we're done. We need to stop coddling criminals. We need to stop saying, well, and I always err on the side of caution when it comes to children. If they screw up, it's a kid, give them a break. Let's give them another chance. Work with them. But if you're carjacking, I can't be on your side. You have crossed that line to where I think that maybe, you'll be okay if we just give you a good talking to. If you get carjacked, number one, they should have put a bullet in the kid's head. And some of these people that drive, you get in their car, they're going to kill you. And you know what? So be it. It used to be back in the day, if you stole somebody's horse, you were hung for it. That was like no go. You're not stealing the man's horse. That is his only form of transportation. That's how he provides for his family. You stole his horse. You die. We need to get back to shit like that. Steal somebody's property, get the shit kicked out of you. You try to steal somebody's car, you catch a bullet in your dome. You try to rape a woman, or you try to rape a man, or you hurt a child, you get killed on the spot. There's no going to goddamn court and pleading your case and going, oh my God, I had such a rough life, and my mommy and daddy didn't pay me enough attention, and I didn't get the job I wanted, so I went out and started robbing and stealing. Nobody cares.
You're past the gray area at that point. I agree. But look, if we're talking about big balls, let's say hanged, not hung.
Well, okay. But
sorry.
Oh, it's definitely hung.
It's just that's how it's got to be. We need to, and we can protect everybody we want to, all we want. But as long as these judges have the balls of a 2-year-old and they turn these criminals back on the street, nothing is going to change. We have to stop depending on these liberal judges to enforce the law as it's written. They're not going to do it. They've shown us they are not going to enforce the law unless you're a white person. Anybody else gets a pass. If you're a white guy, you're going to prison. A black guy or anybody else, hey, it's okay. He had a rough life. White privilege. Let him go. If it's legal in your state, carry a fucking gun. Learn how to use that gun proficiently. And don't be afraid to put a bullet in somebody's head if it comes down to you or them, because obviously they don't care about you. So why should you care about them? Carry a gun, know how to use it, protect yourself, protect your neighbors. And that'll end the problem in probably 2 or 3 months. If these criminals start finding out, hey, they're shooting us. They're out there shooting us. Damn it. I'm not going to go break the law anymore because I don't want to get shot. We need to stop coddling people. It's only going to get worse. I keep saying that. It's only going to get worse until we, the people, stand up and take a stand and say, stop. Enough is enough. Can't depend on anybody.
And
you're right, Seth.
Yeah, it continues.
Yeah, and that's what I said in the monologue too. It's like who's going to break and who's going to get broken. And I didn't mean by no means I didn't mean violence, but that's what I'm afraid it's going to come down to. No. I mean,
sometimes violence is the answer.
No, I'm not saying self-defense or anything like that. It is violence. I mean, it is a violent act, but it's self-defense. It's right. It's justified. But I'm just saying it's starting to turn people's mentalities to where they're tired of it. They're tired of hearing it. Like, when I was just talking to a friend of mine. He showed me some videos about it was the shoulder bump. I don't know if you've seen that. It's trending. It's black people saying they're going to just shoulder bump white people. I mean, hard, and just knock them over. Just to go, someone stand in line at a store and they say, "I'm doing it because they're white." And it's like, what do you mean? What the hell happened? What happened in this country? I mean, I can break it down. What happened? I know what happened. It's like, how do we allow it to happen? And that's what it's going to come to a breaking point where you're going to have something bad happen. Someone's going to lose their mind and try to get revenge for something because they're so tired of hearing that I'm going to take this from you because you're white. And I see it starting to happen. I hope that we get over it. We stop the bullshit and stop having the left try to divide a wedge in between everybody. And that's the problem.
Before you go any further, just keep in mind when it comes to black families, 64% of those families don't have a father in the house.
Yeah.
64%. And it's a fact that a father in the house prevents all this crap. You got higher graduation rates. You have better jobs. You have people that go to college when there's a father's house. They break the law less. They don't get suspended as much. These are facts. That's the problem. There are no men in these children's lives that correct them. We have moms who I don't know who said it, but maybe didn't do nothing. That's all they get from that. We need fathers to be fathers, men to be men. Any fool with a dick can make a baby. It takes a real man to be a father. And that's what we need now. Fathers.
Agreed.
Big balls would have triplets.
I'll tell you this too, Seth. You know, you hit on the judges, and that's a big problem that we have to try to look into as well. You know, when you go ahead and you look at all these Soros DAs, you know, and these judges, I mean, they're not abiding by the law. They're not doing their job. You know, what can we do about that?
Not much. Judges are gods in their courtroom. They can do and say what they want, and there's not much you can do about it. If you go into a judge's courtroom and he says, hey, you got a blue shirt on, I'm holding you in contempt, guess what? You're going to be held in contempt. It's his courtroom. It's his world.
Yeah.
It's
you know, right Right now, we're seeing the problem with a lot of these police officers. If you do your job and arrest the criminals, you bring them in there and they just get released.
I wouldn't be a cop if they were paying $1 million a day. You couldn't pay me to be a cop anymore. Wouldn't do it.
Not even for one day. I would.
I take him.
I know $1 million for a day. Hold on, what are we talking about?
I'd work a shift and then I'd quit.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Well, we're reached the end of this segment, so let's take another break, and we'll go on to our next segment.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
All right, everyone, welcome back to our third segment. This one is the Clintons in the crosshairs again. So I probably heard about it. The Clintons have gotten subpoenaed to come in and talk about the Epstein files. I'm really getting tired of talking about it, but it keeps popping up in the news and they're being brought in, and also about Hillary's involvement with the Russia collusion hoax. So, and all the emails that came out that proves that she actually said, yes, she created it, she okayed it, and she said, run with it. So, Pete, you go with this one first. With all this, all these scandals with the Democrats, it's like one after another. About Biden being, weekend at Bernie's with a dead man in the office, hiding all that, even though we knew he was, but still trying to cover that up. Hunter Biden's laptop, COVID, now the Russia hoax, and one after another. I could keep going. When are they actually going to break completely? Because they're fractured big time. But somehow the Clintons, they just slithered their way through and come out unscathed.
Well, you're not wrong about that, man. We're finally starting to see everything that they've been doing. Not that we haven't seen it before, but they just keep trying to throw something at them. Hopefully something will stick here at some point in time. They've been taking advantage of, they've been doing this wrong since, 50 years or so, right? But the Clintons definitely started pushing that, and then Obama followed it up. And, look, at least they keep throwing things at it. I'm hoping something sticks because I want some accountability. The truth has to come out. We need accountability or we're never going to be able to build forward, right? We keep talking about foundations. We need to rebuild America with a strong foundation. And all these cracks that they have, it's very difficult to go ahead and build upon that. We need to crush it all down and start over. And I hope that we see some accountability. They went ahead and said that the subpoenas aren't out yet, but they'll be coming out in the near future. We all know that Bill was on the Lolita Express out there with Epstein. Epstein came in to see him 11 times. We know they're up to no good over there. And I'd love to see some accountability.
Yeah, I think that's what Americans are looking for. And Elena, I'll go to you next. That's the thing about accountability. When Chelsea Garrett broke all this with the Russia collusion and everything else, and implicated Obama and Hillary and everything else. Do you think they jumped ahead too fast? Because I didn't want to see another Epstein thing, to where they were waiting for the files to be released and then they weren't, they didn't have them, or they didn't exist, or it was this, or it was that, and Trump's, base, was pretty upset about it, and they were calling them liars, and you got Hunter Biden out there saying, Trump was definitely with Epstein. Epstein introduced him to Melania, so he happened to be on the island. So it kind of fractured like a lot of things, like for a short period of time until they kind of got over it. But with this, and I think they jumped too fast without doing any investigations and really putting it together. We're just floating it out there and saying, this is what we have, here are the emails, and this is what we're going to look into.
Yeah, the Russia stuff. Yeah, we shouldn't even know about it yet. We should have. Somebody said it in a previous episode here. Right? Why don't we just start one of these things with handcuffs? And I wish that they had done that, because what this has done for me and a lot of people is just left us completely disgusted, fed up with hearing about corruption every single day. Oh, this one did this, this one did that, this one did this. Oh, but were you expecting anybody to be held accountable? Oh, sorry, because that's not going to happen. Now Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, they're being subpoenaed for the Epstein thing. They're not on the list, on the calendar to be deposed until October. So here's 2 months they have to prepare and get their story straight and talk to their lawyers and put up every firewall around them. And then they're just going to sit there like everyone else and say either I do not recall or, I plead the fifth. And it's just a complete waste of time and money, and just gives me less and less and less faith in my government, and makes me more disgusted with everything I see, and also makes me believe less and less of what I see, because, we've got all this evidence, but yeah, what are you doing with it? Nothing? Okay, great. I'm going to go see what's for lunch.
Yeah, and I see the Donald just put up there. I blame a lot of this garbage pushed by the liberal news media. You must know my hatred for the liberal news media. So yes, I do too. But Scott, I watched a lot of congressional hearings, and they'll bring somebody in, ask them a ton of questions. The person's guilty as hell, and they hammer them, and basically they never answer it. They filibuster, the 5 minutes that they get, and they'll just talk around them, and it's just, to me, you think something's going to happen, you're like, oh, they got him, never, but nothing never happens. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't know where the testimony goes in the ether when it's all done, that it actually gets compiled in a way that's prosecutable to somebody. Even when it comes down to, say, the anti-Semitism on campuses and the hearings for those. So what happens in the end? Maybe one out of the bunch of them feels pressured enough to step down, but nothing changes. And same here too. And I agree with Elena. Like we need to not be dropping leaflets on the roofs and knocking on roofs like the Israelis do, and giving people a heads up like we did with Saddam Hussein for weapons inspections. Like, oh, we're gonna inspect you here so you can move everything. We're giving people too much of a heads up so they can cover their tracks with bleach bit or whatever the hell else they want to use nowadays to lawyer up, to plead whatever amendment they think they know. And I don't have too much faith in it. I think it should have started with arrests and perp walks, and this is where you're going. That said, the strategy here could be, again, will something stick? And two, the bigger picture is just like what Trump does in a lot of scenarios, is he throws something out there and they take the bait. And even if it doesn't stick in the end, at least for a change, what we are seeing that's different this go round is that he's rocking them back on their heels. For the moment, they're on the defensive, not gaslighting him, not going on the offense. They may be offended. They may feign selective disproportionate outrage to kingdom come, but now they have to do the lawyering up. They have to cover their tracks. You're seeing this with Adam Schiff, with his dual homes and his mortgage fraud and things like that. You're seeing it with the governors all over the place, Newsom and all. So at the very least, what we're seeing is they're not able to get a foothold and balance to go after Trump and go after conservatives in quite the way they were before, because now they realize that they're on the chopping block. If that makes sense.
Yeah, nice silver lining.
Yeah. So Seth,
gotta find one.
Seth, Scott just mentioned like Adam Schiff, and I believe Letitia James as well. She all of a sudden did the same thing that Trump was pretty much accused of. She said that she lived here, and I think she named her father as her husband or something like that to get a loan. But basically what Trump was accused of, and when they accused Trump before he became president again, they paraded him into court. It was a spectacle. It's all about, that liberal news media out there, and they just kept hammering it down. Trump did this, Trump did this, Trump did this. He's going to jail. We're going to charge him with 34 crimes. But then, like he said, Adam Schiff, I heard about it. It went away very quickly. Letitia James heard about it. So they proved that it was true that she did that, but it's going away. Nobody's talking about it. So how do you feel about that one? So I mean, I'm bringing it up. I mean, that's the whole reason why. But it's just.
I thought you were going to tell me something shocking.
Big balls.
If this doesn't prove to you that Democrats and Republicans are the opposite sides of the same coin, I don't know what you need to be told. No one will ever be held accountable. No one will ever get in trouble. They're going to pound their chest, like I've said before, have hearings, scream and yell and accuse people of this, and we're going to do that. End of the day, nothing will happen because it's all smoke and mirrors. Because the general population is enthralled by that and will say, look, my congressman's actually doing something. He's up there screaming and yelling and accusing people. And those morons don't realize that's all he's going to do. That's all he's going to do because he knows you're cheering him on. Nothing will happen to anybody.
I think when it comes to the Russia hoax, it will happen, though, Seth. We'll see. We'll come back as friends in the future on another episode.
People, congressmen have raped women and don't get in trouble. Why the fuck do you think they're going to get in trouble over Russia? I mean, really, why do you think that's going to be the thing? Oh, he killed a woman.
It's because it's orders of magnitude.
It hit people,
it's the
but
Russia
it's going to be Russia that
earthquake
gets them in trouble. Murder won't.
Because it's the 8.8 Richter scale measurement earthquake in Russia. It's so much bigger than that. I hope.
I'm taking bets.
Nothing happened, dude. If rape doesn't get him in trouble,
you should
if
hope that
doesn't
I'm right.
Get him in trouble, if DWIs don't get him in trouble, if theft doesn't get him in trouble, if fraud doesn't get him in trouble, why do you think Russia is going to be the one that does it? I mean, really.
I know. I mean, I hear you.
Watergate did it, and this is much bigger than Watergate.
He got to retire.
It was a coup.
He got to retire.
It was a coup.
But he got to retire. Nothing happened to him. Nothing happens to, I don't know how many times this has to happen for people to go, wait, nothing happens to these people. Nothing happens to politicians. How many more times do they got to do something and get away with it?
Nixon
that
didn't
you
have
or
to
I would
resign.
get in prison
That was
for
a
immediately
consequence. I mean,
before you realize they'll never be held accountable.
Right.
How many more times?
I'm not saying they're going to prison. I don't even care if the consequence is that some of these people never get involved in politics again because they have zero credibility.
Politician has credibility.
This is throwing it down.
There's not a politician that has credibility.
They're not all politicians, though. They're not all politicians. I don't want any of them to have any standing, any book deals, any speaking engagements, any honorable doctorates at some university.
That will never stop.
Listen, I'll tell you what, guys, as much as I want to see the Clintons and Obama and all these people that we're talking about right now go down, I want to see Bill Gates go down. All right, that's the one where I'm at. All right, that man is an active enemy of humanity, and I want to see him go down.
Nothing's gonna happen to him either. He's got money. I love you all. I really do, but I don't understand how you don't. I can't be the only person that sees this.
No, I do.
Thank you. Nothing will happen.
No, I do too.
Literally, you've had congressmen kill people, DWIs that hit people, rape people, steal, lie, murder, commit fraud, and nothing has happened to them.
I'm running for
Everybody
Congress.
thinks Russia's going to be the one that puts them in jail. That's going to get them all in trouble, and there's going to be a
Trump
accountability.
wasn't president for any of those, though. That's the difference. I have a little bit of faith. I agree with you otherwise, but I have a feeling when he means business, and he's not running for a third term, I don't think. So he's gonna, if anything is going to be made to happen, he will attempt to do it. The difference between all those examples you gave and now is Trump.
Well, we still have the problem with the judges. We still have the problem with the judges.
I believe in greed. I believe in lies.
He can pull them, and he's threatened it, and he can pull them. He can
That's
pull
what
them
happens
from the
every day.
bank.
That nobody's held
So can the
accountable for.
Supreme Court.
There's no more honorable people in D.C. None.
I mean, go back to like Chappaquiddick. You know, what he got a slap on the wrist for leaving that girl in the car onto the water. That was 50 years ago, and it's only gotten more.
Yeah, but now we have a Kennedy.
More corrupt and more and deeper and more complex.
I mean,
I don't think anything's going to happen to anybody.
Literally, Congress has a slush fund for sexual harassment and sexual assault cases they can pay from. Taxpayer money is being used to pay victims to be quiet, and nobody says shit. But Russia's going to end it all. That's going to change it. The worm's going to turn on Russia because Trump's involved. They don't give a fuck about Trump. They know he's a lame duck. They just got to sit it out for 3 more years. They don't care. The Republicans aren't helping him because he's not playing the game. But he doesn't realize if he doesn't play the game, he's outnumbered and he's going to lose.
I don't know. Texas is starting this ungerrymandering initiative, and I think other states are going to follow suit. So you're going to have more of a majority next go around.
I think that's two different things. I think that's Texas, finally playing the Democrats at their game.
No, but that's the Republican Party standing up for itself and standing up for Trump's.
But that's
Trump's
totally
agenda.
different from criminal prosecutions for crimes being.
You're asking
that's just Republicans playing Democrats, trying to beat Democrats at their own game, which is great. I'm glad to see that's happening at all. I don't think that means that anybody's going to be prosecuted. We're never going to see the Clintons in handcuffs.
We're expecting the fox, after it eats the chicken, to kill itself for eating the chicken. Like, I was wrong. I shouldn't eat the chicken. Let me go step in front of this car. There is no accountability in D.C. None. There never will be. Like I said, they're going to make a big show.
If the chicken was Epstein,
they're
he
going to
might
make a
have
big
done
show
it.
of it. Big show. Lots of hearings. Lots of TV cameras. Lots of interviews. Lots of news articles. End of the day, that's what they're going to do to us. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, Seth, I'm afraid you're right. I'm afraid you're definitely right with that. That at the end of the day, we're not going to get anywhere with it. I mean, maybe, like you said, they won't get their speaking engagements. Obama won't command his $400,000, $400,000 for giving a speech at a college, and maybe that will just fade off. But I don't see any handcuffs or anything like that coming.
I'm just saying the consequences may not be exactly what we all want to see. There will be some, but you have to keep your peripheral vision open to what some of those consequences could be, and not just the ones you want. It may not be what we want.
For them,
I want the same thing you do, and I don't think we're going to see it.
I want the same things to happen to them that would happen to me.
Agreed.
They're no better than me. They are no better than me. And it won't happen because they are better than us. We just haven't seen that yet. They're hanging it right in front of our face saying, well, I'm better than you. I'm more important than you. I can get away with stuff you can't. And we're allowing that to happen.
Well, brother, listen, that's why I'm running, right? I mean, we need more good people to get in there to outnumber, the corrupt ones, right? We have to purge them out of government. It's going to be a long haul. It's going to take time. But I mean, if we get more people to stand up, myself, Tim, right? I mean, if we can get more people to stand up, maybe we can go ahead and put a dent in this, because I feel like we're at the tipping point. If we don't start to get this under control now, America's going to cease to exist, or at least any version that was recognizable.
I wish you the best.
Pete, I don't believe that that's possible unless we enact very strict and short-term limits, because there are a lot of people like you. God bless you. You get involved, you go in there, and within one term, you're as corrupt as everybody else. You've been paid off, and you've been taught the game, and you got to learn how they play it, or you can't play it all, and you can't get anything done. And so the only way to purge the system is to make sure no one sits in it long enough to run the show. And
I agree.
And I ran for delegate. I signed a term.
And with that, we got to end this segment. We'll
should do
continue
that.
on the next one, because that's the next segment we can get. That's what we're going to talk about. So,
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's go on a break.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
All right, everyone, welcome back to our last segment. So this one is, do you want to be a rock star? Label it that because I'll go to you first, Pete, because I know you want to be a rock star in Assembly. And I know we have Tim Fazenbaker running for council in Baltimore, Maryland. So we looked up a couple things, how New Jersey elections go and how Republicans don't really come out that much. Only about 30% per election. I don't know if how many come out in Maryland, but you guys can let me know the ones who live in Maryland, later in Florida as well. But so, Pete, why do you want to be a rock star?
Well, look, man, I want to change the game. Now, first of all, Elena, I want to go ahead and hit you one last point on the last section there. My opponent, Lou Greenwald, has been in office for 30 years in the same position. Term limits, absolutely. All right. With that being said, look, we need to change the game up here in New Jersey, right? That's what we need to do. We need to flip it red. I mean, you guys are living in Maryland and Florida. You're all over the place. We need to turn New Jersey into the next Florida. Okay, that's what we have to do. In order to do that, we need Jack Chitterelli to get elected. All right. So me and Damon are sitting here and we're pounding our heads against the table saying, how can we make this happen? Well, one of the things that we came up with is they call Donald Trump the podcast presidency. I mean, personally, we think that Jack needs to be getting on some of these big time podcasts and doing his thing. But aside from that, we need a spectacle, so we put together this proposal for the Red Atlantic Fest that would be a 3-day concert, start off with a UFC fight, kick off with Kid Rock and Lil Wayne, all the Trump guys, because Trump would be, he would have to be part of putting this whole thing together. But we could make a spectacle right here. We need to get people to come out and vote, and that would awaken our base more than anything else right here. Celebrities or politicians are celebrities nowadays, and we need to go ahead and act accordingly.
So, all right. Thank you, Pete. Oh, it's not going to happen, by the way. We just put it together.
Whatever.
Yeah. But no, it was just a good way of looking at it. I was talking to a bunch of young Republicans, the young Republican clubs, and I asked them if they were helping out with any campaigns, and they were like, "Oh, well, we really don't get much credit for helping out with campaigns." I'm like, "Okay, well, when I was a carpenter apprentice, I didn't get much credit for anything. I was, they always told me I had to work harder to get to where I got to be." So then I started talking to them more and more, and I thought about it, and I said, "Well, so why don't you come on my podcast?" And then I said, "Well," and then I said, "Hey, if you guys want to have your own podcast, come back to me, get all the young Republicans in all the state of New Jersey, and come back to me with something, and we'll talk." And they were really excited about it. It actually excited them and motivated them that they were going to be heard. And I said, "You joined the Young Republican Club for a reason. Maybe you want to run for something one day. People can know who you are ahead of time. You'll have name recognition at least. So look pretty good." But then one thing that they told me is that they weren't really motivated to go out and vote, and they weren't going to request a mail-in ballot. I mean, I know most Republicans like to vote in person, but how do you do that? How do you get them out? Because in New Jersey, last election, like I said, only 30% typically come out every election. So last time Jack ran for governor, 400,000 registered Republicans didn't come out. So how do you do that? So then we were just talking about, well, he has a Trump endorsement. Trump loves big crowds. We were at the Trump rally in Wildwood, 100,000 people on the beach. It was amazing. And that drew a ton of big crowds. We're like, well, Trump loves UFC. He was just here for a UFC fight like 6 weeks ago. Walked in the stadium and it would just erupted. It was crazy. Trump loved it. So of course Trump loves a big stage too. So let's put it all together. Kid Rock did concerts for Trump. So Jack, why don't you call Trump and say, "Hey, listen, he's coming for a rally for you in the fall. Why don't you turn it into a festival? Why don't you go and you're going to draw younger crowds, get them motivated to vote?" It's a cultural thing too, to get them motivated. And we're really pushing mail-in ballots, because we're outnumbered. We only had like 6% of voters last election, and compared to like 30%, 25% of Democrats that requested mail-in ballots. I said, well, prompt them when they click and buy a ticket, mail-in ballot. You can apply for one. I said, maybe that will help it out. but that's where we are with that. So I don't know. So that's where we went with it. But I don't know what's it like in Maryland. So I'll go to you. What's the vote? The Republicans vote. You always say Republicans they just don't care. They're lazy, and I don't think that they're lazy. I think that, well, maybe they are. They just don't care as much. I mean, I don't know. Let's hear your thoughts on that one.
With the exception of my brother in arms down here, most Republican central committees and things like that are jokes. They're not worried about Republicans. They're worried about parties and getting your money. That's pretty much all they're worried about. Prime example, Dan Cox. Threw him under the bus because he wasn't the one they wanted. Maryland will never flip, never. I don't care how many people say, oh, I'm going to vote for that Republican. It will never happen because nobody promotes Republicans down here unless you kiss the ring. And if you kiss the ring, you're not a Republican, you're a rhino. And then people know it, and they're not going to come vote for you. It's Maryland's a lost cause. This is a prime example of what you should use in your state, New Jersey, of what happens when you let rhinos take over the party. Look at Maryland. That's what will happen to us. We will go liberal and never come back. We need to make a stand. It's Maryland's a joke. I mean, we had Larry Hogan. He was a joke. He was a rhino. He tree stumped for Wes Moore, the liberal governor we have now. I mean, it's a joke. And I can't say it enough because nobody listens in Maryland because the same shit happens over and over. They keep giving money to the central committees and the Republican Party in Maryland. And like I said last Wednesday, they all scratch their heads with their thumb up their ass and go, geez, how come we can't get a Republican elected here? They get what they deserve. So I laugh. They got exactly what they deserve, and I hope it happens again and again and again and again. So I can just point at them and go, look, you all suck, but keep giving them your money so you can go to good parties.
All right. So Scott, I'll go to you next. You're in Maryland too, correct?
He's right down the road.
Yeah. So with that, I mean,
although I will be in New Jersey in Bergen County next Thursday, where I grew up.
Okay.
On my way back.
All right. So I thought I don't think Maryland is a sanctuary state, or correct me if I'm wrong or not, but
it is. I'm not in a sanctuary county because thankfully we have a sheriff who is totally against that and for upholding the law and safety, especially when it comes to families and drugs, encountering that and weapons. So we have Sheriff DeWeese here as a retired state trooper. But when I ran for delegate, I signed a pledge for term limits for two terms. I was running against some of the establishment and people that supported Schultz over Dan Cox. I wholeheartedly supported Dan Cox and thankfully become friends with him. Then I ran for city council. And the problem with a lot of local elections is that the voter turnout is terrible, and it's planned that way. They want to keep – I was running against one guy who is now in his 7th term. They haven't done a reassessment of the zoning of Westminster City in about 30 years. And this guy has been in office for most of that time and has done nothing. They've done nothing for the underserved communities that they claim to support. I was the one visiting there, doing the ride-alongs with all levels of law enforcement to find out their interactions with the people and the issues. Was immersed with people. They did nothing, but we had a 6% voter turnout, anemic. And that's on purpose to keep those people in. When it comes to rock stars, though, like I'm already a rock star. I've been doing that for 30 years, singing. So, no, but when it came to running for office, it was like I ran because the first time because I was right out of the Army, so I didn't have any political background. Couldn't because I was on active duty. But I had about 3 months to throw the campaign together before the primary, and it was about wanting to continue to serve. And only for that time frame, for the 8 years or what have you, to get something done. And then when I ran for city council, it wasn't because if someone's running who I think is doing a great job, I don't need to run for the sake of running or getting in that position. If they are carrying the banner for me and championing the causes that I believe in most, let them do it. It's not about me doing it. It's about those initiatives getting put forward and who can do that the best way. But when it came to Westminster, you had 3 people running for 3 positions. And I don't believe that elections should go uncontested. Even if it's your party, you need to have vibrant new people in there. Part of that, even if you're voting out the term limit, to have somebody new. But I don't believe in these uncontested primaries or even uncontested final elections. You got to have somebody else in there.
No, I agree. I agree. And Elena, we're getting close to the end of the show here. But when I mentioned sanctuary state, I know Florida is not one, which we have the privilege of not having that. But New Jersey is. And New Jersey taxpayers actually pay $7.3 billion because we are a sanctuary state for illegal immigrants. It's for either their schooling, their health care, you name it, whatever it might be. That's straight out of the pockets of New Jersey taxpayers. So I was talking to Pete and Jack Brangan, his running mate. We were just talking about it. I said, well, let me do the math. I said, there's 360 million homes in New Jersey. I said, well, if you divide that by 7.3, I'm like, wow, you can lower everyone's. We pay the highest property taxes in the country, state of New Jersey, but you can lower everyone's property taxes by over $2,000 a year if you were to reallocate that 7.3 billion. And I said, I don't care if a candidate smothered a kitten in front of me and told me that. I'd be like, I'm voting for you right now. Now, obviously, I'm joking about that part, but I'm just putting it in perspective.
You're not.
Yeah. So when you have a rock star governor, I mean, it's like having a rock star governor, Ron DeSantis.
Well, it's just nice to know that I have a governor who's, cares about things like, punishing child predators and having conversations about keeping taxes low and putting his citizens first. That's just how it should always be. Everybody should have a governor that puts their citizens first. It's very disappointing that, I want to kind of touch on something Seth was talking about, though, how he was talking about how Maryland Republicans are just weak and pointless. And I found that when I spent 23 years in Massachusetts, and I was, it was like it had to be a secret to be a Republican because, otherwise, up until a point. And after a while, I was like, all right, I'm out. I'm coming out of the closet. I had enough. But, when things were still peaceful, we were quiet. And most Republicans in Massachusetts still are relatively quiet because they don't want to be called a bad name. And that weakness is really a complete opposite of what happens with Democrats. Because if you look at someplace like Texas or Florida, any place that is, conservative, the Democrats do not do that. They do not sit back and say, all right, I'm just going to keep the peace here. And, they scream louder and louder and louder. There are Democrat strongholds, even here in Florida, where, there's like, pride flags painted in the crosswalks because they will not back down. And I would love to see Republicans have that fire in conservative cities and states and maybe make a difference because they just gave up and they're just like, oh, we can't win anyway. It's really pathetic.
All right. Well, last thing I want to say is that she said that Maryland Republicans, you said, are weak and useless. Aren't you registered Republican and live in Maryland?
Am I a registered Republican?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I got big balls.
I'm a registered Republican here too, but you were asking if we're a sanctuary state. I mean, haven't you heard of the Maryland man, Kilmar Abrego?
Oh yeah, no, I hate.
Why do they do that? Why does everyone have to just morph into this ridiculous fake accent about whatever ethnicity of the person is who's arrested? Like Hillary at a black church.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Just say Kilmar Abrego Garcia and be done with it. But we have the Maryland man. That's our claim to fame, right?
Yeah, I know.
Sanctuary City is right.
I'm tired of saying that dude's name, so I really am. So
I can't pronounce it, so I don't say it.
Wasted too much of all our time. But all right, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you. It's a rough start tonight. I apologize, but we didn't know we had some technical difficulties, and all the listeners out there, thank you for sticking with us. Only going to get better from here. You can blame me, guys.
I will.
I'm going to blame somebody else when we get off of here.
Well, that's fine. You can blame me, buddy. Look, I keep poking the phone. I hear you, man. My stuff, I get calls. It's all jacked up. I don't know what's going on. I apologize, guys. That's my fault.
I'll blame you.
We made it through without Seth Showing us.
Or did you? We still got a couple of questions left.
No, well, you missed the beginning. He said he wasn't wearing it.
I did miss the first 5 minutes.
He said he wasn't wearing any pants. Yeah,
no, I said I am wearing pants tonight. So I should get something for that.
Oh, yeah, no more Winnie the Pooh.
And I want to say, Pete, all is forgiven. You're wearing a suit. It's good.
Thank you, Elena. Appreciate you.
Yeah, best dress for
every time, my friend. Every time.
I came from work.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Have a good night. I'll see you guys next week.
Good to see you all.
Bye.
My hands disappear. I swear I got hands. Get the hands off me.
Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country, America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.